Wow, people really do not like this movie, huh? Too bad I'm not one of them. I haven't seen this movie in years. I remember really liking this movie when I was younger, but not a lot of people felt the same. Although I'm here to tell you otherwise. This movie isn't as bad as people say it is. It isn't the worst superhero movie ever made. I think that title belongs to other movies. I think this movie has a bunch of amazing things. It's not so boring that I just lose interest by the halfway mark, nor does it feel tonally off like the first movie. There is actually stuff to talk about in this movie, like the score or directing. Hell, I think this movie has some really good character work. For the most part, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there is some really dumb shit in this movie. This video is still going to be a defense of the movie. There is just a lot of dumb things that hold this movie back from being really good, which makes my thoughts on the movie overall mixed. Anyways, I'll stop yapping and actually get into the stuff you're here for. This movie is so weird. Like, it's trying to be the complete opposite of the first movie. Spider-Man's costume is completely different. The score is more upbeat, and it's just more colorful in general. Hell, this movie probably has the best CGI out of any superhero movie, and I'm willing to die on that statement. My brother told me this. This movie is ass, but the CGI is how you imagine Spider-Man to be. My brother wanted me to add that to the script, so I'm just doing that for him. This movie does a lot of things well, but it also has so much dumb shit and keeps some of the dumb stuff in the last movie, which makes those things that it does well just not really matter. It's not like the movie has one bad aspect about it either. The good stuff is intertwined with the bad stuff. Okay, so we need an example so you can understand what I mean. Let's look at the opening of the movie. Not the stuff with Peter's parents, but the actual Spider-Man stuff. Alright, so the scene has Spider-Man stopping robbers from robbing a truck and crashing into cars plus some people. It shows Spider-Man dealing with Spider-Man stuff, like with him running late to his graduation because he decided to fight crime. It also establishes Peter's arc with him being haunted by Gwen's dad. It also has some very well done CGI, and the soundtrack goes oh so hard. Now while this scene has some amazing things, there's just some little things that kind of bog it down. Like how instead of stopping the guy driving the truck, he literally fucks around and tells jokes. There's one part that makes truly no sense. Okay, so Electro gets shown trying to pick up blueprints off the road. Spider-Man is trying to steer the truck while the guy is reloading. Then Spider-Man sees traffic on the road and says, "I'll be right back." He then swings away, letting the truck hit these cars, with this yellow taxi getting hit first and going flying, for it to go towards Electro with Peter saving him. So instead of continuing to steer the truck so none of this happened, you instead see what's about to happen, do nothing, but go and save this one guy in the street. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, this line is kind of weird.
I told you I am running a bit late.
No, you didn't. You didn't tell him shit. You see what I mean? No matter how many good things are in this one scene, all the things that are within it make it not really matter. This just isn't a problem with individual scenes. This is a problem with character arcs and even the plot. I first want to talk about the plot because I think it has some good things about it, but it also has some weird ass shit about it, which mostly has to do with Harry. Because, oh boy, this character. Let's start off with Electro, and if I'm being honest, he's not that bad of an antagonist. For the most part, his motivations make sense. The thing with him feeling betrayed by Spider-Man is a little goofy, but believable in some way. His grand plan to control all the power within New York also makes enough sense, even if the way we got here is kinda silly. The main problem with the plot is Harry. He isn't revealed until 30 minutes into the movie, is dying from a disease that is never explained, and Peter has apparently known him since they were kids. Already a bunch of information this movie is giving us. Do you think they give us a lot of screen time with him? No, he barely has any screen time. or at least enough for us to see that he has a character outside of dying from a disease. He is literally only here so they can adapt the death of Gwen Stacy from the comics. I imagine a whole bunch of people have torn apart why it will never work in a movie adaptation. We're also supposed to believe that this scrawny ass 20 to 19 year old can take down 2 fully grown men and free Electro because of that? Harry just wasn't needed in this story, and like I said, he's only here because they wanted to adapt the death of Gwen Stacy. It even messes with Peter's arc in this movie too, and hey, speaking of which, it tries to make Peter worry about multiple things even though they don't really cohesively connect to each other at all. This movie still has him trying to find out what happened to his parents. Harry isn't particularly a part of his arc, but one thing made it that. Although there is one thing about Peter's arc that I wish had more focus to it, and is the stuff with Gwen. Peter and Gwen's relationship in the first movie was okay. It was just a teen high school romance thing and really nothing special about it at all. This movie, on the other hand, offers some very interesting things about it. Peter is trying to keep his promise to Gwen's father, which is
leave, Gwen.
This drives a rift in his relationship with Gwen and they break up. Peter still cares about Gwen though, so he tries to keep an eye on her and watches her from afar. After a little bit, they meet up and Gwen tells him some news. It's that she might go to college in New England. I love this so much because Peter hates it, and that's amazing. From what the story has shown us thus far, Peter is very protective of Gwen, watching to make sure that she's safe. He may not be with her, but he cares about her so much that he can't help but just keep an eye on her. So knowing that she might move away with her not being an arm's length anymore is terrifying to him. Especially when they do start talking again, Peter seeks out Gwen for most of his problems. She's the only one that knows about his identity, so he sees her as the only one who can help in his crazy life. Even with this movie showing how complicated Peter's life is becoming, he won't have anyone he can go to help solace him. It's so interesting. What they could have done with this, if they focused on it, had so much potential. So what's the problem, you may ask? Well, this movie tries to rope in Peter's parents within this. Most of the reason why this is bad is because Peter's relationship with Gwen is defined off of the promise he made to her father. This movie just kind of forgets about that though, so when he finally learns the truth about his parents, it apparently gives him so much closure that he's willing to just let go of the promise he made to him and just be with her. Although, guess what? He still feels bad about Gwen's dad. You seemed so certain about this earlier. Why are you having doubts now? Then there's the shit with Harry, who's only here to give us the death of Gwen Stacy, in which, you guessed it, Gwen dies. It's kinda cool how they got away with adapting this, but come on, man. We couldn't have waited one more movie? Whatever. I know I gave some compliments about the CGI earlier, but that was just me mostly wanting to just get to talking about the characters and the plots. But the CGI isn't the main thing I want to be talking about. Anyone can compliment CGI. What I want to talk about is the music, because the music, or the soundtrack, or the score, however you want to call it, is so fucking good. I love the score of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I feel like this is the one aspect of the movie that made me think, they really want to make a good movie here. I don't know what it is. They were trying so hard with the score here. They had so many good soundtracks. Like Spider-Man's soundtrack is so upbeat and epic, and it just works, especially with how much they changed the costume, and the CGI with him swinging just works so well with the suit. It reminds me a lot of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Like, it works so well. Another thing that we can talk about is definitely Electro's soundtrack, because man, they were cooking with something here. I love how it's like techno with a little bit of like instrumentals mixed with it, because the instrumentals are meant to show his, his other side, where he's just this shy, geeky guy who's just really smart. And then the other side is to show his darker side with Electro, where he's just the techno part where it's like bum bum bum, where he's just supposed to show he's Electro. And the best part about this soundtrack is the little voices within it, with the hands are shaking, anxiety, whatever it is. Like Here's an example. Like this one aspect of it gives it so much more depth. Too bad the movie's editing doesn't really have us hear it all that well. But this one aspect just gives it so much more contextual flavor to it, and it makes it so much more interesting to listen to, and it makes Electro more of an interesting character, even if the way he became Electro is kind of goofy. I don't know, I just really enjoyed the score. I thought a lot of the soundtracks that they used were just really good. I also like Gone 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 by Philip Phillips, so sue me. Now look, like I said, I don't think this is the worst superhero movie ever made. It isn't as bad as people say it is, but it also isn't gonna be high on anyone's tier list. I can understand why people think it's the worst though. Although, after rewatching the movie, I think the hate for it is kinda overblown. It does have some dumb shit, but it also has some really enjoyable things about it. There are a lot of redeeming qualities about this movie. Does it save the movie and put it any higher on the tier list? No, if anything, it just doesn't make it F tier. So I'm gonna put it at D tier.